My name is Laura Clayton and I am the owner and founder of Soul Sanctuary Yoga Studios. So I wanted to make this little video just to introduce myself really as one of the lead trainers on the 200-hour yoga teacher training program. But I also wanted to share a little bit about my story into yoga to hopefully reassure anyone who might be feeling at this point like maybe they're not ready to do a yoga teacher training, or maybe they don't know enough about yoga, or maybe they can't do certain poses, all these worries that so many people have before starting yoga teacher training. And hopefully my story into yoga will kind of reassure you that you don't need to worry about any of that at all. So if we go back 15 years, then I really was not the yoga type at all. So I was working in a global advertising agency in London. I had this super fast-paced lifestyle and I was doing really fast-paced exercise like hit and spin, and everything was super competitive. Unsurprisingly, I'd had cycles of burnout throughout my whole life and continue to have that in the advertising agency. So I was suffering with that. I had quite bad anxiety, like I was having panic attacks quite frequently. I was really struggling to get on the tube in the morning and things like that. But I really just ignored it because I was so driven just to kind of achieve and move on. And then really sadly at that time, my dad had a heart attack and he passed away. And I was in my early 20s and it hit me really badly. And mostly because I realized really quickly after that so much of what I was doing in my life was to make my dad proud. And I was just looking for his approval. And with him no longer on the planet, I basically had to figure out like who I was, what I actually cared about, what I was passionate about, and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So I felt completely lost. I was at rock bottom. And I tried lots of things to help. So I went to counselling, and I was on medication. I was actually drinking quite a lot at the time as well. I was in a really bad place, and nothing was helping me. And then, some of my friends said to me like, oh, maybe you should try yoga. And I thought like, these people don't know me at all, because I was such a competitive, fast-paced person. Like I wasn't going to be going to stretch on a yoga mat. And because I was in such a bad place and I basically would try anything, I went to the yoga studio at the end of my road and I just went to a basic beginner's class, 45 minutes. But what the teacher was talking about in terms of like self-care and connecting with yourself and your true self, like it just was exactly what I needed. And I just couldn't believe, like I walked out of that class and had more energy than I had in, months, maybe even years. And it was like somebody felt my fuel cap and just kind of like topped me back up. And I tried everything. So I could not believe that this yoga class was the thing that helped. And I remember looking at the teacher and thinking like, I want to do that, I want to do what you're doing. And I was just really interested in how it worked. And I wanted to learn more about myself. So yeah, I applied to do my yoga teacher training on my 30-day trial at this yoga studio. And I'd done like maybe a handful of yoga classes at a gym for a stretch. So I might have known like some of the main yoga pose names, but definitely no alignment, definitely no Sanskrit, nothing like that. And thank goodness they accepted me on my yoga teacher training because, now fast forward 15 years and I've opened several yoga studios. I'm a corporate wellness consultant, which, uses a lot of what I learned in that 200-hour training. I'm leading yoga teacher trainings all throughout the year online and several times a year in person. And this is really like my life's work. And I couldn't love what I do more. It works around my 2 young boys now, and I get to see people transform in themselves and transform their lives to live the life that they want to be living. And that is just such an honor and a privilege to do that work. None of that would have been possible if I hadn't been accepted on that training on a 30-day trial. So I share that story because what we're really passionate about at Soul Sanctuary is making our yoga teacher trainings accessible to anybody who is passionate about yoga and wants to learn more about themselves. And it really is not about how good you are at yoga poses, about doing any fancy yoga poses at all. It's just all about, learning about yourself and learning the tools to help others as well. So I hope that helps to reassure that, you probably are good enough and that we will support you every step of the way. And that really all this is about at this stage is kind of, as they say, listening to the whispers of your heart to find your true calling, following the breadcrumbs, as they say, to find your purpose, your dharma in this lifetime. And they say that the universe rewards the brave. So it's really just about taking that first step and knowing that we are here to support you every single step of the way.